Stages of wealth. This is going to be an important video. Why? Cause this will guide us, including me, where I am standing right now, and where I want to go, and what are the perks of that level and what are the things I have to let go to reach there. Are we willing to sacrifice that much? This video is not to demotivate you, but to educate you when we know enough is enough for us. Let's begin. $1 million might be earned in around 11.5 days if you were to earn $1 each second, while $1 billion would take more than 31.5 years. You know, it's easy to think of wealth in terms of being rich or poor, but in general, one could argue that there are 5 different levels of wealth, and that circumstances vary significantly at each level. It's astounding how much different a billionaire can accomplish compared to a millionaire. We will look at how life is at each of these various wealth levels in this movie, as well as how the super rich spend their money, including some of the most unusual and lavish things you have ever heard of. While you watch, you'll notice that one of the biggest shifts that occur at each of these wealth levels is perspective, because prices feel relative to income. For example, if you compare someone earning $40,000 annually to someone earning $400,000 annually, the difference is 10,000 times greater. This means that, to them, a $300,000 lap bike is the same as spending $30, a $10,000 artwork feels like $1,000, a $50,000 Hamptons home feels more like $5,000. To us, each of those purchases would feel extremely significant to a billionaire. It's not even something they'd really need to think about, and of course, when you're that wealthy, it's not just items and experiences that you can buy, but we'll get to that. Let's instead start off with the first level of wealth, the top one. Even though this phrase is synonymous with being extremely rich, if your income is over about $200,000 a year, you would technically be part of the top 1% of worldwide earners, and so being in the top 1% may not make you feel quite as rich as you would think, because, sure, you can typically afford a nice house and car, but with those things come higher costs, so you probably don't feel very financially secure, and you're likely still working a full-time job. Which is why beyond this level, wealth starts to be measured in net worth rather than income. Because the more wealth you have, the more assets you have, and you're probably not making your money from a normal salary, so the next level of wealth is a net worth of $10 million to $30 million. At this level, your needs are met, you can live very comfortably, you have a really nice house, you often fly first class internationally, if it's a special occasion, you might book a $2,000 suite, you can afford any healthcare you need, and in fact, no emergency financial situation can destroy your life, yet you're still not rich in the sense that money doesn't matter. You still have to be sensible and careful when it comes to big decisions, and in the banking world, you're still not classified as having an ultra-high net worth, which brings us to our next level, a net worth of $30 million to $100 million. At this point, you start playing in the big leagues, and most likely, you run or have a controlling interest in a very large company. You always stay at 5-star hotels, and you have multiple residences all around the world that you can stay in. You also take holidays during prime time, for example, going to Monaco for the Grand Prix or Cannes for the film festival, and you won't bat an eyelid. When the place you're staying costs $10 to $20,000 per night, you have personal assistants and are starting to have people that others have to talk to get to you. You can buy pretty much anything that normal people think of as stuff rich people buy, like cars, the fanciest jewelry, and so on. Instead of flying first class, you'd fly Emirates. Although it has been said that you typically charter a flight or own a private jet fractionally through a service like NetJets instead of buying it outright and having to maintain it, at this level, another big change that happens is your social circle. You will probably start socializing with congressmen, senators, and community leaders. You're likely very well respected within some very high-class circles. Interestingly, though, since you're likely surrounded by other ultra-wealthy people, you may start to feel like you don't have enough. Sure, you may have just bought a new Ferrari, but your friend has a limited edition version where only 5 were ever made. And sure, you had dinner with a local governor, but your billionaire friend just had dinner with the president. Even at this level, people are still looking above them. Which brings us to our next level of wealth, $100 million to $1 billion in net worth. To be at this level, you likely have ownership or control of a business that most of the public has heard of, even if they haven't heard of you directly. At this point, you can likely socialize with movie stars, rock stars, and corporate elites. You can go pretty much anywhere you want, and always in style. You have multiple residences with staff all over the world and elite cars at every residence. If it's your thing, you might have a private island and, of course, a private yacht to get you there. Want to play tennis with your favorite star? Call his people for a donation of $100,000 or more to his charity. You can probably play a match with him. Want your favorite band to come and play at your private party? Well, for the right price. They probably will. If you love art, your people could arrange for the curator of the Louvre to show you around and show you some masterpieces they haven't exhibited in years. If you can dream an experience up, you can likely have it. Donations and fees can get you to anyone, and once you have many hundreds of millions of dollars, it's the same when it comes to buying things. You may hire people specifically to find you the most extravagant versions of items you can think of. For example, the Australian company Toilet Paper Man produces 22-karat gold toilet paper for a cost of over $1.3 million. If you are going to quite literally flush money down the toilet, why not get a gold toilet or an entire gold bathroom to go with it? In fact, if you're ultra wealthy, you can literally have gold everything. How about a 24-karat gold water bottle, which in itself is a piece of designer art and comes with spring water from France and Fiji combined with glacier water from Iceland? Or, alternatively, how about the world's most expensive iPhone, which has a 24-karat gold casing and more than 600 white and black diamonds plus sapphire glass for the screen? This obviously isn't available to the general public to buy one. You're going to need over $15 million, but this is the key at this level. It's not just about buying the fanciest, most luxurious items, it's about getting the rarest and most exclusive things you possibly can. For example, you could get a limited edition pen that costs $160,000 and has 4,810 diamonds inside, and only 8 are made each year. If you want to go a lot bigger than that, many billionaires turn to art, not just rare paintings but things like this dead shark art piece created by Damien Hirst that sold for $12 million, or let's say you like piano. Well, here's the same crystal piano that was used for the Beijing Olympic Games that was purchased at a private auction for a record $3.2 million. You see, when you're at this wealth level, your mind is the only real limit to what is available, but then we have our final level, the 1 billion net worth and above. Now, before we get into what you can do as a billionaire, which honestly is pretty insane, it's worth noting that the number of billionaires on Forbes' annual rich list has significantly increased in recent years, and there's now around 2,755 known billionaires. Of course, it's possible there are more who have generational wealth and simply do a good job of staying very private, but either way, Forbes has estimated that these 2,755 billionaires are worth a combined $13.1 trillion and therefore have more wealth between them than the poorest 5 billion people on Earth combined. These statistics are overwhelming, but let's actually visualize them to put things in perspective. This rice example really highlights that even within this billionaire category, the difference between 1 billion and the kind of wealth Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk have is insanely vast. I'm also a big fan of James Jani's YouTube channel, and he did a great job of visualizing the difference between these large sums of money in a different way. After seeing these examples, we've now got a better idea of the scale of $1 billion. So now let's look at what you can actually do with that, because essentially, you can buy anything, and I do mean anything. We're no longer talking about luxurious items and experiences. First, you can buy access. You can ask your staff to contact almost anyone on the planet and get a call back. It's amazing the level of access and respect a billion can get you. Within an hour, you could ask your people to get in touch with someone and they'd be able to do it. And I'm not just talking about contacting celebrities, it worked the same with powerful people within politics as well, especially because the billionaire may well be a donor to their political party, and so if you're a billionaire, you may occasionally meet with the heads of state and have conversations with them, which brings us to the second thing $1 billion can buy: influence. As a billionaire, you have many ways to shape public policy and public debates, and this isn't always done in some kind of evil way, like lobbying for lower taxes for rich people, although obviously that does happen. The simple fact is that because of your wealth and connections, you can absolutely influence big changes in the world, not just on a political level, because another thing you can buy is impact through philanthropy and charity. Your money can literally change countless lives. The question is, how do you distribute it to villages to fund new hospitals? Try to save a dying species of animal with money. You can impact almost anything of your choice, but one of the biggest differences with billionaires that is often overlooked is the ability to essentially buy time. You quite literally don't have to wait for anything. No lines, no sitting around. Just think about it. You've got your own private jet, so you just show up at the airport whenever you want, sit down in the plane, and 2 minutes later you're in the sky and can go wherever you wish. When you arrive, a driver will have already been arranged to pick you up and take you wherever you want to go. Your assistant will have already got the best table at the restaurant you mentioned wanting to eat at, or maybe your assistant arranged for a celebrity chef to come to one of your vacation homes. Instead, at whatever time you choose, everything you could need is taken care of for you. However, believe it or not, there are some downsides to being this ultra-wealthy. First, it's nearly impossible to have normal emotional relationships at this level. It can become increasingly difficult to have friends and family that love you for who you are. They exist, but it's pretty hard to know which ones they are because your world is likely filled with yes men and people looking to take advantage of every opportunity. Your trust and connections with people are undoubtedly considerably weakened. Dating also becomes an odd experience. On the one hand, some of the world's most beautiful and intelligent women are all around you at parties and events, but again, finding someone you have a genuine emotional connection with is a different story. Especially because your time is so valuable that you're always busy and unable to invest in making deep connections with new people, and even if you do find someone, the relationship balance is skewed in a strange way when you have essentially unlimited money because no matter whether you pay for everything or whether your partner makes their own money, either way, something about the dynamic feels off. And finally and most crucially of all, no level of money can give you truly everything because death is the great equalizer, and losing loved ones, losing your own health, and facing your own mortality are problems that no amount of money can solve. The Reddit poster that inspired this video and deserves full credit talks about how he met Sylvester Stallone at a party who'd obviously had a very successful career. He said he was such a great guy, had huge levels of wealth and luxury, a smart and beautiful wife, and yet he also had a special needs son who died young. In his words, nobody has it all. In fact, if you are watching this video and feeling poor, I think it's worth rethinking because in this video we've looked at several levels of wealth, but the fact you are watching this means you are nowhere close to the bottom of the total wealth pyramid. It's easy to look up and feel frustrated that some people have so much more than us, but just look down the wealth pyramid for a moment. If you have internet access to watch this plus some food in the fridge, clothes on your back, a roof over your head, and a place to sleep, and you are richer than 75% of the world. You are actually wealthy than most others in the world, who are either in debt or have nothing at all, even if you only have $1 right now. This movie truly makes clear how arbitrary it is to categorize someone as affluent or poor. There are many, many different levels, and you may be far richer than you realize when you consider how much wealth is distributed globally. Please remember to subscribe and enable notifications for upcoming mini documentaries if you liked this one. I appreciate you seeing.